livestock management and nutrition. Under this lecture, we're going to look at the following sessions. One is feeding strategies and dietary requirements, feeding composition and formulation, farm animal production systems, livestock disease prevention and control, feeding strategies and dietary requirements. Grazing, browsing, foraging, scavenging, hunting, and filter feeding are all examples of specific feeding strategies. Animals have biologically as well as behavioral adaptations to help them, e.g., different beak shapes in birds. Some species use several of these strategies for a more generalist approach. Yeah, now definition of the different feeding strategies. Filter feeding, obtaining nutrients from particles suspended in water. Deposit feeding, obtaining nutrients from particles suspended in soils. And then fluid feeding, obtaining nutrients by consuming other organisms fluids. And then bulk feeding, obtaining nutrients by eating all of an organism. As theories of feeding are concerned with such issues as food choice, prey switching, sensory mechanisms for recognizing and locating food, optimal optimum search strategies, overcoming the difference of food organisms, and how to compromise between finding food and not carelessly falling prey to some other hunters. The following examples are still some examples of feeding strategy. As with these, we defined some earlier on. There are more still here. Grazing is allowing livestock to barely consume the growing forage, grasses, legumes, and forbs in a pasture or rangeland. It is harvesting by animal instead of by machines. Grazing provides good nutrition and other benefits to the animal and can lead to more productive forage growth. Next is browsing. Browsing is a type of herbivory in which a herbivora, or more narrowly defined, a folivora, feeds on leaves, soft shoots, or fruits of high-growing, generally woody plants such as shrubs. This is contrasted with grazing, usually associated with animals feeding on grass and other lower vegetation. Yeah, in browsing, these animals feed on what? On the leaves of bigger plants or higher growing plants or woody plants than in grazing where they feed on mostly grass or lower vegetation. And then forage. Forage means to wander in search of food, relying on food provided by nature through the gathering of plants. Every animal has a particular method of collecting food, whether they smell it, find it by sight, or detect it by chemical means. Animals seek out food both individually and in groups. Next is scavengers. Scavengers are animals that consume dead organisms that have died from causes other than predation or have been killed by other predators. Scavengers have historically played an important role in nature, eliminating dead carcass of domestic and wild animals, helping to reduce the risk of disease transmission to livestock species, wildlife, and humans, and therefore contributing to animal and public health. Filter feeding is a foraging strategy that allows individuals to capture and process large quantities of prey in single mouthful, thus allowing them to acquire energy at high rates when small preys are aggregated. Data requirements for livestock. Nutrient requirements for livestock. One, water requirements of livestock. The water requirements of livestock are met by three major sources. One is by drinking water, water consumed through feedstuffs, and metabolic water, which is produced by chemical reactions in the body during the digestion and metabolism of nutrients. Ruminant production animals consume proportionally more water per unit of their body weight than do non-ruminants such as pigs and chicken. The high composition of water is necessary because proper function of the rumen depends on a considerable amount of water. And next is energy requirement of livestock. As its name indicates, energy is the source of fuel to the body. It is necessary to drive metabolic processes that support or maintain the animal, enabling it to grow, reproduce, and lactate. Livestock growth and productivity are energy dependent processes. Therefore, an energy deficit affects productivity more quickly than do deficits in other non-water nutrients. Yeah. And next is the protein requirement of livestock. Protein plays important roles in all aspects of livestock nutrition. Therefore, a protein deficiency may present as an impairment to normal maintenance, growth, reproductive, or immune processes. Protein is an important component of the diet because one, it supplies ruminal bacteria with a source of nitrogen, which they use to make their own protein. And it also supplies cattle with a source of amino acids, which they use as the building blocks to assimilate or repair protein in the body. We know they are building blocks. And then there's also source of nutrients for the bacteria in the stomach. We have both the good and bad bacteria. But however, here we're talking of it being as a source of food for the good one, bacteria. And then mineral requirements of livestock. Livestock have known dietary requirements for various minerals, including calcium, phosphorus, potassium, magnesium, sodium, sulfur, cobalt, copper, iron, manganese, selenium, and zinc. All these minerals have specific roles in livestock development. We know very well things like calcium needed for bone development and all that. Other vitamin requirements of livestock. Vitamins are organic compounds that differ from the organic compounds that differ from the other nutrients in terms of chemical composition and function in the body. Most vitamins act as coenzymes or cofactors that catalyze or are otherwise involved in metabolic reactions within the body. Vitamins are found in very low quantities in very low quantity, that is fat soluble forms, but livestock require them in only relatively low amounts compared to other nutrients. Nonetheless, they play critically important roles in the maintenance of the animal, contributing to normal biological processes required for survival and conservation of mass, as well as for growth and development, health, and resilience to stress. A feeding composition and formulation. Basic types of feeds. Animal feeds are classified as follows. One is the concentrates, high in energy value, including fats, cereal grains, and their byproducts such as barley, corn, oats, rye, and wheat. High protein oil meals or cakes such as soybean, canola, cottonseed, peanuts, and byproducts from processing of sugar beet, sugarcane, animals, and fish. Uh, the second type is refuges, including pasture, grasses, hay, silage, root crops, straw, and stover. Concentrate foods. Examples of these concentrate foods, we have cereal grains and their byproducts. In the agricultural practices of North America and Northern Europe, barley, corn, oats, rye, and sorghums are grown almost entirely as animal feed, although small quantities are processed for human consumption as well. The grains are fed whole or ground, either singly or mixed with high protein oil meals or other byproducts. minerals, and vitamins to form a complete feed for pigs and poultry, or an adequate dietary supplement for ruminants and horses. Still under this concentrate, you have the high protein meals. Vegetable seeds produced primarily as a source of oil for human food and industrial uses. They include soybeans, peanuts, flax seeds, canola, cottonseed, coconut oil palm, and sunflower seeds. After these seeds are processed to remove the oil, the residues, which may contain from 5% to less than 1% of fat and 20 to 50% of protein, are marketed as animal feed. Sorry. Yeah, still under concentrate. We have byproducts of sugar beets and sugar cane. From the sugar beet industry come beet tops, which are used on the farm, either fresh or unsealed, and dried beet pulp and beet molasses, which are produced in sugar factories. Cane molasses is a residue from cane sugar manufacture. They are all palatable, high quality sources of carbohydrates. Sugarcane baggages is fibrous, hard to digest, and of very low feed value. In Europe, beets and some other roots are grown as animal feed. Citrus molasses and dried citrus pulp, which are generally available at low cost as byproducts of the citrus juice industry, are often used as high quality feeds for cattle and sheep. Other byproducts, food, large quantities of animal feed are byproducts or residues from commercial processing of cereal grains for human consumption. The largest group of these byproducts comes from the milling of wheat, including wheat bran, middlings, wheat jam meal, and wheat meal feed. In some areas, bakery waste such as stale and leftover bread, rolls, and various pastry products are ground and used as filler or feed for pets and farm animals. And then rice bran and rice hulls are obtained in similar fashions from the mills that polish rice for human consumption. Corn gluten feed, corn gluten meal, and hominy feed are produced as byproducts from the manufacture of starch for industrial and food uses. Next is composition and valuation of feeds. The usual chemical analysis of feeds provide information on the amount of dry matter, on protein amount with amino acid composition in brackets, fat on fat amount, on fiber, minerals, vitamins contained in the feed. Various energy values that is digestible, metabolizable, and net of the feed, which depend on the species of animals being fed, are included in complete tables of feed composition. Feed formulation. Feed formulation is the method of producing a balanced diet for animals by selecting and mixing various feed components in appropriate amounts to meet the specific nutritional needs of the animal. Age, weight, production goals, and other physiological requirements of the animal are taken into consideration when formulating this feed. The main objective of feed production is to provide an economical, palatable, and nutritionally adequate diet to promote optimal growth, health, and productivity of the animal. The goal of feed formulation is to provide an economical, palatable, and nutritionally adequate diet. This means that the feed should be affordable, tastes good to the animal, contains all the necessary nutrients in the right amount. When these goals are met, the animal is more likely to consistently consume the diet, which is important for optimal growth, health, and productivity. A feed formulation for commercial purposes refers to the exercise of determining volumes of ingredients and additives to blend to create compound feeds that meet the non-nutrient requirements of targeted species and achieve production goals at an optimized cost. The formulation of feeds implies two prerequisites. One is the presence of essential nutrients along with their needs for targeted animals, and known or estimated. Two, the candidate source of these nutrients are outlined and suitable for feeding animals. And you need to know the nutrients, of course, needed for that particular animal before you start your feed formulation. And then you also need to know the source, which maybe which plant, which crop, which grass has high of that specific nutrients you need. Other feed formulation, the user is guided through the types of nutrients required by animals, their sources, that's raw materials, quality determination, nutrient requirements, and the mathematics of formulation. Feed processing and mixing involves size reduction, that is milling, mixing, pelleting, and crumbing. Types of feed formulation. The process of feed formulation can be divided into several steps. Step number one is determining the animal's nutritional needs. This is where you need to start taking into account factors such as the animal's age, weight, production goals, and other physiological needs. Two is selecting feed ingredients. The ingredients selected should provide the necessary nutrients in the right proportion to meet the nutritional needs of the animal. Step three is determining the nutrient content of feed ingredients. Ingredients must be analyzed for their protein, energy, fiber, vitamin, and mineral content. Calculating the nutrient composition of the feed. This involves using mathematical formulas to ensure that the feed contains the required nutrients in the correct amount. And then test of the feed. It has to be made sure that the feed meets the animal's nutrient needs and tastes good. This may include monitoring the animal's growth, health, and performance. Importance of feed formulation. Feed formulation is of critical importance in animal nutrition. One, first because it leads to improved animal performance. A properly formulated feed provides the animal with all the nutrients it needs for optimum growth, milk, and egg production. A proper fed animal has developed strong bones, muscles, tissues, and its immune system is functioning properly, which all leads to improved performance. In addition, second importance, in addition to feed formulation reduces feed costs. Since the feed is properly selected and the animals immediately receive the right amount of nutrients, there are no feed losses. In addition, thanks to the feed formulation, the animals are therefore overfed or underfed. The animals are neither overfed or underfed, which can lead to suboptimal performance, which in turn increases costs. And next is not only is the nutritional value of the feed important, but also the physical properties of the feed, such as texture, particle size, and palatability, as they can affect the animal's intake and digestion. The feed should be easily digestible, palatable, and free of impurities. Feed formulation is also important because the performance of an animal can be greatly affected by even the slightest change or differences in the composition of its feed. And feed formulation methods. Feed formulation methods fall broadly into two categories, that is the manual and mathematical or statistical. Here are the most popular feed formulation methods. One is the Pearson square method. This is a simple method for formulating feeds with two ingredients. It consists of finding the ratio of the two ingredients and determining the amount needed to produce a given amount of feed. This method is simple and suitable for small farmers but requires manual calculation. In this Pearson square method, you mix use the protein to be and how much you need the vitamin to be. Yeah, you need only two ingredients in forming what? The the formulated feed. And then the second method is the trial and error method. In this method, a feed is formulated from available ingredients and tested on animals to determine if it meets the animal's nutritional needs. Based on the results of the trial, adjustments are made until the desired nutrient profile is achieved. Yeah, in this trial and error method, you just use the available nutrients. You form a feed formula from the available nutrients to test it on the animals. If there is improvement or if the desired qualities you're seeing there's improvement in the desired qualities, you can continue. If there's no improvement, and you continue what? Getting more available nutrients and mixing it up to ensure that desired quality is met. And next is computer method. This involves the use of special software programs that take into account all factors as well as the availability and cost of various feed ingredients. By entering these variables into the software, the computer can create a recommended feed formula that meets the animal's nutritional needs while optimizing cost and minimizing waste. The formula can be easily adjusted to achieve the desired results. Feed additives to consider in feed formulation. The most important thing in feed formulation are nutritional additives, which are added specifically to achieve nutritional goals. They can be classified into some categories. We present them below with some specific examples of additives that should be considered when formulating a feed. One is you need to consider amino acids. Amino acids are important in animal nutrition because they are the building blocks of protein, which are essential for growth, development, and repair of tissues in animals. Without adequate protein intake, animals may experience stunted growth, weakened immune system, and other health problems. In addition, not all amino acids can be synthesized by animals, meaning they must be consumed through the diet. So, one thing you need to consider is the presence of amino acids. Two is vitamins. Vitamins are necessary for the proper development and growth of animals as they affect the regulation of many physiological and biochemical processes. They play a crucial role in promoting tissue and bone growth, strengthening the immune system, improving animal performance, and enhancing fertility. Vitamin C plays an important role in the production of collagen, helps the body absorb minerals, and strengthens the immune system. It also supports wound healing and helps to cope with stress. Choline chloride, also known as vitamin B4, animals can benefit from this choline chloride as it boosts their immune system. It promotes fertility, allows for faster weight gain, and improves the quality of their eggs. And next is proteins. Protein is also an important nutrient you need to, or additive you need to consider when formulating foods. Proteins are necessary for the growth and repair of tissues, including muscle, bone, skin, and hair. They are also involved in the production of hormones, enzymes, and other important molecules, as well as in maintaining a healthy immune system. In addition, proteins can serve as a source of energy for animals when carbohydrates and fats are not available. Potato protein is used as a source of essential amino acids necessary for increasing muscle mass. It is a valuable source of protein for non-ruminants such as pigs, poultry, and fish because of its high digestibility. And then vital wheat gluten is used as a source of high quality protein and to improve the nutritional profile of the diet. It has a high content of essential amino acids, which are necessary for animal growth and development. A vital wheat gluten is also highly digestible. Farm animal production system. Agricultural production systems are simply the ways in which a farmer makes use of available resources to meet their food, fuel, and fiber demands. The livestock production system embraces all aspects of the supply and use of livestock commodities, including the distribution and abundance of livestock, the different production systems in which they are raised, estimates of consumption and production now in the future, the people engaged in livestock. A farm animal production system, a definition of systems of different farm production system. One, the solely livestock production system. Livestock system in which it's a livestock system in which more than 90% of dry matter fed to animals comes from rangelands, from pastures, from annual forages and purchased feed. And less than 10% of the total value of production comes from non-livestock farming activities. The landless livestock production system. A subset of the solely livestock production system in which less than 10% of the dry matter fed to animals is farm produced and in which annual average stocking rates are above 10 livestock units per hectare of agricultural land. And then the grassland based system, subset of solely livestock production system in which more than 10% of the dry matter fed to animals in farm produce and in which annual average stocking rates are less than 10 livestock or LU per hectare of agricultural land. And next is the mixed farming method. Livestock system in which more than 10% of the dry matter feed to animal comes from crops, byproducts, or stubble, or more than 10% of the total value of production comes from non-livestock farming activities. And then the rain-fed mixed farming system, a subset of the mixed system in which more than 90% of the value of non-livestock farm production comes from rain-fed land use. We have the irrigated mixed farming system, a subset of the mixed system in which more than 10% of the value of non-livestock farm production comes from irrigated land use. And then we have the intensive and semi-intensive farming system that we are going to look at in the next session. Livestock disease prevention and control, general disease prevention and control measures. One of the control measures is prevention of environmental contamination. The premises, shades, stables, and kennels and pastures should be prevented from contamination. Elimination of parasites from the host at the most appropriate time by use of anti-parasiticides, thereby preventing pasture contamination. Yeah, you need to one prevention of environmental contamination. It's one way of preventing or controlling livestock disease. Two is control of intermediate hosts, vectors, and reservoirs, limiting the contacts between intermediate and final hosts by improvement in management. Direct action may be taken to reduce or eliminate intermediate host population. Yeah, maybe those animals that can easily transmit the disease. Oh, that acts as hosts, yeah, for that disease before it's transferred to your livestock and all that. You need to separate them or limit the contact. Yeah, and then control of internal parasites. Reading the animal of internal parasites, reading the animal of internal parasites by periodically deworming, preventing infestation of animals by keeping premises free from infective forms of parasites, disinfestations, and elimination of intermediate hosts. Yes, you need to control internal parasites. How do you control them? By, of course, deworming, um, preventing infestation of animals by keeping premises free from infective forms of parasites, and then control of arthropod pests. You need to control arthropod pests and control and reducing the infection as soon as an outbreak occurs, isolation of sick animals, quarantine quarantine for newly purchased animals. Yes, you need to first keep them differently before you mix them with the old ones. And then vaccination of farm animals. Ensure you vaccinate your farm animals frequently. Deworming of farm animals, deworm these animals frequently helps to prevent disease or control them. And then eliminations of carriers. When you find out that some animals are infected, you make sure you eliminate them. Or when you find out that some animals are carriers of a specific disease, you make sure you eliminate them. And then tuberculin test on injection of tuberculin, that is purified protein derivatives of Mycobacterium tuberculosis, into an infected animal. Allergic symptoms are set up, and this constitutes a reaction. In healthy animals, tuberculin, even in large doses, gives no reaction. This is quite a reliable test for diagnosing non-clinical cases of tuberculosis on all species of farm animals. Tuberculin tests should be carried out in animal farms once every 6 months in the initial stage and later on, depending on the health status of the herd. The test can be conducted annually. Yeah. And this tuberculin test is a test to detect tuberculosis present in animals. So it needs to be done at least yearly. So it's also a way of preventing wider spread of this disease. And then the joining test. Joining test is purified protein derivative of mycobacterium paratuberculosis, paratuberculosis used as a diagnostic test for Johne's disease in cattle and buffaloes. Joining test is also done like single intradermal test done for tuberculosis. So a painful indurated skin with an increase in skin thickness more than 4 millimeters is taken as positive. All positive animals are culled and destroyed. Yeah, you also need to conduct this joining test, which is still a test for what? For tuberculosis frequently. And then agglutination test for brucellosis. This is a serological test based on the principle of antigen, that is dead bacteria, and antibody, that is the agglutinins present in the body fluids, mainly serum of infected animals, reactions resulting in agglutination of bacteria. When the agglutins present in the serum and other body fluids of animals suffering with brucellosis or carriers is added to a suspension of killed culture of Brucello abacia's organism. The latter will cluster together, and then the reaction being known as agglutination. Healthy animals in which agglutins are absent do not show such agglutination. Yeah. This is mainly a test for brucellosis, whereby you introduce the dead bacteria, and then if this bacteria is actually present in the animal, agglutination occurs. But if it is not there, agglutination does not occur. So you need to do this test also frequently to prevent, of course, the spread of this brucellosis amongst other animals. And then test for mastitis. You can use the California mastitis test or the strip cap test. And then make sure you dispose of carcass, dispose of all dead animals, burial of carcass. Make sure you bury also the dead animals. Don't just dispose them empty openly, because they can easily come in contact with the live ones, and that disease that killed the dead animal can be transferred to your live animals. And then banning of carcass. Ensure you ban off all the dead animals. Disinfection of animal houses. Regularly disinfect your animal houses. Yeah. And then disinfection of pastures. You make sure you regularly disinfect pastures. Thank you. That's the end of session one. Hey, Samuel.